All right, everybody, I'm back tonight. I had thought about stopping these tailgate talks, but take these glasses off. My lights glaring in them. I've had a lot of people request that I don't stop. I don't know, maybe some folks like it. Hell, it's kind of entertaining to me, so to speak. But anyway, I'm gonna keep doing them. It's March 29th. Um, Nice weather, cool. Bugs ain't biting yet. I'm outside. I'm on the tailgate of my truck. That's why it's called Tailgate Talks. It's what I like to do in the afternoon. Come home after a stressful day of work, loiter around the tailgate of my truck, talk to my family, drink a beer or two or three, relax, kind of wind down, get ready to go to bed and get my evening started. But once again, I've watched the news again today, and not a whole lot, but I watched enough to know. Heard going to work this morning that the Democrats are thinking about taxing how many miles we drive. You know, folks, if that happens, there's no end in sight. Hell, the next thing you know, they're going to start taxing the air we breathe. Which, if they keep on with their money spending agendas, we ain't going to have no choice. Before you know it, your paycheck will go down to a third of what you're bringing home now. You good with that? I'm not. Hell, I work hard. Really do. But then, I was going to speak on that tonight. I'll speak on that later. And I want to speak on the school system and what the teachers are doing. That's another topic for another night. I had something override it a while ago. They're trying to make it to where you don't have to have any identification to vote. Y'all, if you can't see through that scam, like I said before, your cornbread is not done. You need to get back in the oven. You know, if I was a corrupt voter and I didn't have to show any ID, hell, we got to show ID for all kind. You got to show ID to get in a bar. You got to show ID to buy liquor. You buy beer. There's no end to what you got to have an ID for. I mean, hell, they're talking about you having to show your ID and a passport that shows you've been vaccinated before you can fly on an airplane. But yet, they're going to turn around and say that you don't need any ID to vote. Now, let's run a scenario by everybody. I don't know that I could do it. I'm a pretty distinguished person. I'm a big guy. I mean, you look at me, you can tell. But say you're just a typical, I don't know, don't get offended. Let's say you're a typical nerdy person and you just a normal looking person, you kind of skinny, dressed in slouchy clothes. Hell, you could go to the polls, you could go through the line, you could vote. You could walk out to your car, smoke you a cigarette, change your shirt, maybe put on a different hat, come back through the line, vote again. Because in 30 or 40 minutes at a busy polling place, them people have probably seen 600 or 800 people. They're not looking at you. If you don't have to show them any ID, they don't give a shit what you look like. So you go out to your car, you vote, you go out to your car, you smoke your cigarette, talk to your girlfriend, get back in line, go back through, vote again. Hell, go back to the car, comb your hair, maybe put some Dapper Dan in it, slick it back. Go back in, vote again. You ain't got to have no ID. Hell, they don't know who you are. Hell, you could dispute it if they questioned you. Now, with that being said, folks, if you can't see through that scam, you got problems. You really do. You got problems. And all it is these Democrats are so power hungry. They want to get every advantage that they can get to keep themselves in power. And I've about decided there's nobody gonna stop them. Nobody's doing a damn thing about nothing that they do. Hillary Clinton can do all the shit that she's done and smash her cell phones and bleach bitter computers and discard emails, even when they've been subpoenaed, and they don't do a damn thing about it. Hunter Biden can do all the shit. Y'all know what I'm talking about. He can do all the shit he's done. Nobody do a damn thing about it. And you don't need an ID to vote. Now, there's something wrong with that picture, y'all. And the way that I was brought up and raised, there's right and there's wrong. And everybody listening to me knows what's right and what's wrong. Now, you can choose to overlook it if you want to, but it's going to come home to bite you dead in your ass. And when it does, you ain't going to like it. If they get their way, there's nothing to stop them. If they push all this stuff that they're pushing, if they push it through, there's nothing that can stop them. This country will become a dictatorship. I don't know no other way to put it. You know, I hear on the news, I don't know, y'all, I ain't been down there at the border. I really hadn't. But I hear there's thousands and thousands of migrants coming across every day. And they wearing Biden t-shirts and they know he invited them. Hell, if you ask them, they'll tell you, hell, Biden said to come. We're free to go. We're good. We're going to be American citizens. Well, they get in the country. They're not Americans. They're not registered. They don't own anything. They don't have an address. They're putting them up in motels. I got another problem. I'll speak on that in a minute. They're putting them up in motels and taking all the kids and putting them with foster parents. And then they get in the country and, oh, Biden got us in. Oh, President Biden, oh, he's great. And then you don't have to have any identification to vote. So next election, you go up there and you vote Democrat. Because, hell, you don't have to prove you're a citizen. All you got to do is walk up there and vote. No questions asked. Nobody's going to question you or ask you if you're an American or if you got an address or if you got ID. Now, y'all, what kind of shit is that? That's horse shit. I don't give a damn any way you slice that. Horse shit is in the middle of it. That's ridiculous. And I cannot believe where this is gone. And once again, and I know what's happening, and y'all, I'm guilty of it too. I've got my life. It's a pretty damn good one. I do what I want. I drive what I want. I deer hunt. I fish. I got hound dog. I do what I want to. You know? And if you don't pay attention to what's going on, the next thing you know, it won't be there anymore. And I'm afraid that if a lot more people don't wake up to this like I have, they're going to snatch the rug out from under us and start loading us up in train cars headed for the next encampment down the road. And putting their supreme people up front. And y'all, it's sad. It is sad. Really sad. But if this country gets to where you do not have to have an ID for anything, there is nothing stopping anybody from doing anything. Nothing. They've already got it to where if you own a business or you own a corporation and you're going to hire people, you can't ask them how old they are or nothing. In my opinion, that's horse shit too. Because if I own a corporation, and don't get me wrong, some of y'all will get offended. If I own a company I don't want to hire an 80-year-old man. He's no benefit. He should already have made his way and been through and retired. But you can't ask him how old he is. You can't ask him anything. You can't. It's ridiculous, the stranglehold that they put on people. I can't understand how they can say you don't need an ID to vote. Voting is one of the most important things that this country has. This country was built on that. And if you don't identify people, you cannot control anything. You have no idea how many people's been here and who hadn't. And you say, oh, I'd remember him. Well, you think that. You really do. And there'll be a few people you'll recognize. There'll be features like me. I mean, I look like a refrigerator walking up to you. Yeah, you probably gonna remember me. Big head and all that. Yeah, old body mind, they laugh at me. But you're not gonna remember everybody. And they can vote 4 or 5 times, 6 times, 10 times, 12 times. Hell, they can go from precinct to precinct voting. Think about it, y'all. Hell, you could go to all 50 states if you don't have to have identification. You could vote in every state in the nation 8 or 10 times. Because you don't have to prove who you are. You just go vote. They ain't nowhere like that. No, ain't nothing like that. Nowhere in this country is anything like that. But yet these Democrats are pushing that agenda through. They're pushing it through. And Kamala Harris was appointed to take care of this shit at the border. And all she wants to do is piss and moan and bitch because they ain't got her mansion at the White House built. She's got to walk across the street to go to work in the morning. Now, how goddamn pitiful is that? That's fucking ridiculous. That's bullshit. I ain't got no room for that kind of shit. None whatsoever. None. But y'all, we fixing to have some problems in this country. It's coming. And I hate it because good people are gonna have to do bad things. And it's gonna mess some people up, and it's gonna cause some grief. But in order for this country to survive, good people are gonna have to do bad things. And I think some of you people will be surprised what you can do when it comes right down to the line. I really do. I think you'll be surprised at what you have inside of you. Because I know deep down y'all American people. You really are. And right now you're like I was. You really don't. Your life's good. You don't have any problems. You don't have. But when you'll see what I'm saying. It's coming. It's coming. There's no way around it. They're pushing and pushing and pushing. And there's nothing to stop them. And come this midterm, if we can make it to this midterm, y'all, we have got to gain our majority back. If we don't, they're going to ram every agenda they have down our throat. Because they don't give a crap about us. They don't give one red ass about our feelings or what we think or anything else. They would sell their mama's soul to keep power. I honestly believe that with all of my heart. There's nothing they wouldn't do to keep power and control. And that's what they want, is control. You know, I wasn't going to speak on this tonight, but the control factor goes right into the schools. You know, when I was growing up, and there's many of y'all that listen to me, I'm an older gentleman. I'm 50. I think I turned 54 yesterday. I wouldn't call that old, but I mean, it's older. I mean, I'm not a youngin'. But when I was coming up through school, they taught us about government. They did. They spoke on it. They taught us what the House was and what the Senate was and what the president's role was and and what everybody done and how it worked. And then we formed our own opinions about what we thought it should be. Well, that ain't how it is anymore. They don't do that. They tell you what not us. They tell the youngins what they should be thinking. Well, folks, if the youngins go to school and they're decent kids, they're going to respect their teachers and they're going to listen to everything they say. And they're going to believe 3/4 of it. And if you don't talk to your kids and try to educate them otherwise, we're going to have a whole nation of young kids growing up that don't know what America used to be and how it should be. And it's a shame that it's that way. It should not be that way. It shouldn't be. You know, I got a stepdaughter, and I think the world of her. She's a class act, really, honestly, she is. And she was grade A Republican, Trump supporter, just as good as you could get. And it took them about 3 months of college to start turning her into a damn socialist. And had I not intervened and explained to her what socialism was, I don't think she would have ever turned back. But, you know, when I told her to come home and give her sister half her money she made that day, she didn't like it. That was her money. No, not socialism, it ain't. And hopefully I opened her eyes. Hopefully I did. I think I did. I hadn't talked to her lately. She's been in college now for going on 3 years. But given her character, I probably figure she's seen through all that crap. But, you know, folks, we all gonna have to wake up and start doing our part to stop this. Because if we don't, we're in for a bad way. And a bad way. I don't know how else to put it. It sucks what we're looking at. Every time you turn around, it's racism, it's black on white, it's this, that, and the other, and all this horse shit. Well, you know, the way I see it, the racism, I'm done with the racism shit. I'm done with that. That ain't what's happening. That ain't what's happening. You know, they trying to push black against white. Folks, black people and white people's lived in this country now for 200 years. We ought to be over all that horse shit. I work with a bunch of black people. I do, and I don't have nothing against none of them. They work, they come to work, they do what they supposed to do. The white people, so they do too. You got a handful that think that somebody owes them something. I don't understand it. That nobody owes them anything. They need to earn what they got coming. What concerns me is the simple fact that we got thousands of people coming across this border, and Joe Biden can sugarcoat it any way he wants to. He's the cause of it. His administration caused this shit. This wasn't happening until he took. As soon as we said he won the presidency, they started coming. And they gathered them up some Biden shirts. Now, I want to ask y'all something. Where the hell you think they got them shirts that's got Biden on it? They didn't get them bastards in Mexico. Somebody took them shirts to them people. Now, you think about what I just said. That Mexico didn't give them people them shirts that said, "I love you, President Biden," and send them on their way to this border. That didn't happen. That y'all need to think about what I just said. That didn't happen. It didn't happen. But there's thousands of them and thousands of them pouring across the border. We don't know who they are. We got the cartels, so to speak, grabbing people's kids, and I firmly believe this is true. Y'all can bitch and gripe and get mad with me. I don't care. But, you know, if I had half a ton of cocaine that I wanted to smuggle into the United States, and I come across the border, and I knew if I had some kids with me, they'd just accept them. If I could manage to get across the border with my truck full of kids, those kids would take all of the police forces to ICE people's attention, and I could slip right on through. If I was a Middle Eastern terrorist, I could be embedded in that truck. I'm in here now. They don't know who I am. They hadn't documented me. They hadn't asked me any questions. I'm just in. And on top of that, I can vote, because you don't need no ID to vote. Think about that. Think about that. None of it makes any sense, and if you think it does, you're an idiot. You are an idiot. All right, I got to get me something to eat. I'm hungry. I'm sleepy. I'm signing off. I'll have another episode of Tailgate Talks tomorrow night. Y'all have a good one.